following video is brought to you by Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jacket, try out the brand new digital manifolds, the P51-860 and P51-870, now available at test equipment distributors across the country. Every day, there seems like there's some sort of thing I have to figure out with this HST Live stuff. It's a learning curve, but whatever, it's cool. I look over at the title, and the title has remained the same for some reason. I guess I must have tweaked something, but I hope you guys can hear me. And make sure that if you can hear me, shoot me a quick text and let me know. Say, Zach, we can hear you, Zach. We are out there. I need to hear from you guys or I'll become sad. I'm going to have to play the sad Mario music. I'm not going to do that because it's way too loud for some reason, so I'm not going to do that. I hope you guys are doing good out there. I hope you guys can hear me, or else I'm just talking to blank screens all throughout the United States. But I hope you're out there. I can check it, but it's going to sound really weird. Watch this. Yep, see, you can. Thank you, Mr. Alex. Loud and clear. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. For some reason, the title didn't change. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, but I'm glad you stopped by. Looks like we have coast-to-coast viewers again. We just lost our California, but we got Idaho. We got 2 in Kansas. What's up? We got 1 in Dallas. We got 2 in Florida. We got guys from coast to coast, and that is awesome. So I had this HVAC news thing I was going to do. Like every day, we can do a little bit of news, catch up with some modern current events. I think it'll be great. I think it'll be nice. And it gives me a chance to use my news intro that I created. So let's check that bad boy out right now. You're listening to the HVAC Action News with your host, Zach Ciota. All the news you want, and a lot of it you don't care for. That's pretty sweet right there, guys. Pretty sweet indeed. So that was the Action News intro, and here is the first thing in our Action News. There's not much action. I don't know why I added the action part, because there's no action to this whatsoever. I thought this was really good, and I did this one time. I'm going to tell you what it is. Now, this comes from Suffolk, Virginia. There was this lady, Ella, and her HVAC system had not worked in like 5 years. Now, imagine that. Living in Virginia, it's hot and humid in the summertime, and this chick had an HVAC unit that was broken down. She couldn't afford to fix it. She couldn't afford to replace it. It says they bought a few window units, and they had space heaters for the wintertime. But you know how that feels? You go to a different room, it's like 40 degrees cooler in the wintertime or 30 degrees hotter in the summertime. It's horrible. And her daughter, her 15-year-old daughter, who I won't mention the name for, had a rare blood cancer. It's one of those slow-growing blood cancers, and the name is like 500 letters long, and I'm not going to even worry about trying to say that name. It is way too long. But needless to say, she had to get chemotherapy. Her mother had to come home and stay with her for like 13 years. I don't know how they even survived. I don't know how they could pay for their house. They had to shut off certain rooms in her house. They became moldy and mildewy because they didn't have any air moving through those rooms because the central air didn't work. So they used like a window unit in one room and another in another room, and they shut everything else off. So it got moldy and mildewy. And her sister came along, and there was this program by all people. And I'm going to tell you guys this first and foremost. I always thought of ARS as like a big company that screwed up a lot, because I always heard about them making mistakes. They're a huge company. But, you know, it's just huge companies. I don't trust huge companies. That's just me. I'm skeptical. It's like the government. I don't trust the government. I'm one of those people, guys. I don't trust the government. I don't trust big companies and corporations. I like small companies. But, you know, small companies do screwed up stuff too. I'm not saying they don't. It's just how I'm built. I just have a natural skepticism for some of these large entities. But this ARS-based company, ARS is the parent company. The actual company was R.S. Andrews. That's the name of the contractor. They came in with this program and actually replaced the unit for these guys. So this special needs child who had this rare blood cancer, which turned into leukemia, by the way, and her mother, who'd been out of work for 13 years helping her at home, got a free AC unit. I was thinking about this, guys. This is pretty cool for ARS. ARS has evidently done this 40 times at least. That's what the article said. They've done 40 systems throughout the United States because they're a big company. And that's pretty awesome. That can change somebody's whole life. I mean, all of a sudden you have AC throughout the house. You have treated air. You don't have the mold problem theoretically any longer. It's just a change of a lifetime, especially for the young girl. She's already sick. Imagine it. You have cancer. You're getting chemotherapy. one of the things that has to work is your HVAC system. The unit was donated by Carrier, I believe, which is another good thing from Carrier. I like Carrier. That's good. Makes us like them even more. That's pretty cool. Now, what I ask you guys is, have you ever done something like this? And don't call in just yet. We're going to play a game here at the end. You know how we do. We're having fun. We'll be here for 20, 30 minutes having a good time. But have you guys ever been part of a company or owned a company that did something like that? I tell you what, I had a horrible experience that I made the best of. For some reason, I got myself intertwined with this horrible, horrible subcontractor. One of my buddies called me to look at a job that he had done. He came into town, did the job, and left. And when I got to the job, it was just the worst thing ever, guys. It was a 4-ton outdoor unit with like a 3-ton air handler, and it was a heat pump. So it was really bad news in the heating mode. And it was put into a trailer. The unit outside was like 12 years old. The unit inside was new. And it was too small. But it didn't matter. It was way, way too small. It wouldn't have worked in heating mode. It probably barely worked in cooling mode. This thing had a leak, a refrigerant leak, had a bad fan motor, was an expensive Trane fan motor. And I wanted to wash my hands of this. Well, this guy got ticked at me. We went back and forth. It was a horrible, horrible situation. So what I did, I said, you know what? I have one of those GMC Goodman units in my building, because at the time I was buying these dented and damaged Goodman units from East Coast metal distributors, and I would refurbish them and put them back out there. As sort of a goodwill thing. I'd sell them for a discount for people who couldn't afford new systems. It was a great idea. I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun, and the people got a system that they would not normally have gotten. So it was perfect. So I did that for this family. They were ecstatic. I don't know whatever happened to them because I haven't heard from them since. But as of when I installed it and started it up, everything was working great. It was basically a 3-ton GMC hooked to a 3-ton Carrier. I don't remember what the model number was, but it was just their basic air handler. And I think it was a piston air handler. I want to say, I'm almost positive. Cross my fingers. I don't remember. But the good deed, I felt great about it. It was an awful situation. I hope nothing like that ever happens again, because it was just horrible. But the ending was pretty good. They were very grateful, and it was worthwhile. And I want to say it was near Christmas time, so it made perfect sense. So guys doing that sort of thing, I want to give them a shout out if I can, because that was a great move by ARS and this RS Andrews, of which ARS is the parent company. They did a good thing. Helped this lady out. This was August the 1st, so it's the hottest part of the year. And now she's good to go. So moving on. Let's move on to some mold. Got my papers here. Let's move on to some mold. Let's talk mold, guys. That's sexy. You want to talk some mold? That'd be great. You're about to have dinner, right? Those of you on the East Coast, it is 6:37. You're about to bite into some mold lookalike food. Let's talk mold. Let's talk Stachybotrys. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? The black mold? Stachybotrys. I've heard several different things about mold throughout my career, from it's not that bad to it's the end of all things. We're going to do a story that comes from the Palm Coast. I'm not sure where that is. Mold in the Sheriff's Operations Center. The sheriff's name is Staley, I think it was. I have it written down here, but I write like chicken scratch, so I don't know. They had this huge operations center, and they were having issues where like 30 guys were going on workman's comp because of, I guess, respiratory issues. It didn't go into detail about it, but they were saying it was because of mold issues. The odd thing was that there were companies that came in there that actually investigated the issue and found the building safe. But the sheriff was a non-believer. He did not think that they were right. So he called in 2 more entities to check the building, one of which hasn't come yet. And the other one was somebody that went to his church. Somebody that went to his church. Now that sounds like it's not nepotism, but it's pretty close to it. So you kind of wonder about the credibility of that. And that's not really contested in this article. They don't really go into whether or not it was a credible source, because this guy, his name was Sweeney, by the way. Not Todd. It wasn't Sweeney Todd. It's just Sweeney. He had a PhD in environmental toxicology and water resources. Let me say that again. A PhD. He had a doctorate in environmental toxicology and water resources. Now, this was a sharp guy, but there was something funny about this. Now, this guy, he's been around because he was an advisor to Presidents Nixon and Johnson. Guys, that's the 1960s and early 70s. So this guy's been around the block. In 1995, he started his own firm, so this guy knows his stuff. So I'm going to go through and tell you what all this guy found, because he did a complete study on this stuff, and he found the following items. The vents, outdoor air, didn't have any filtration. Now, I don't know offhand if that would be a mold problem, because you're not actually decreasing the enthalpy of the air or changing the heat content as far as latent or sensible. You're just getting, big crap out of the air before it goes into the space. So I don't know if that was really a big deal or not. If he put it on his list. Here's the part that I thought was most interesting. The UV lights. He said they had to go. They had UV lights, and he said they had to go. You wouldn't think that's the truth, would you? You wouldn't think UV lights would be a problem. But he said that they were actually killing these mold spores. That sounds weird, doesn't it? They were actually killing mold spores. Isn't that what they're supposed to be doing? Isn't that a good thing that they're killing mold spores? But alas, it wasn't a good thing, because this is what he said. He said once those mold spores died, they would get broken down into tiny microparticles that were toxic. And that would cause the people in this place to get sick. I've literally never heard that before in my life. I've never heard that. The tiny microparticles could get the guy sick. So the UV lights, which were there to improve the environment inside of this sheriff's operations center, were actually hurting the people by killing the mold spores. Makes me question every UV light I've ever put in. I have never heard that before. But this guy, PhD, he knows his stuff. He's been around since before dinosaurs were out. I mean, not quite that far, but I mean, Presidents Nixon and Johnson, guys, that's the Vietnam era. That's a long time ago. This guy's known his stuff for a long time. That's pretty crazy. I gotta turn my page here. Let's turn my page here and let's see. Oh, yes. And these filters that they had installed, just regular filters, would not stop these microparticles. So once these mold spores died, because of the UV light, they passed through the system and passed through the filtration. And I guess once they got into the air, it would hurt the people that were in the building, sheriff's officers or whatnot. So they had to do away with that. And here was his solution. His solution was quite extensive. Now, I want you guys to think while you listen to this and tell me what you think this costs, because I'm going with $1 bajillion, probably. First and foremost, clean the building. Now, that's pretty obvious, right? I'm hoping they were already doing that. Clean the building. Remove the UV lights and add HEPA filters. So they had to take out the UV lights and add HEPA filters to catch those microparticles. Run the HVAC with the outside air blocked off for 14 days. So there goes 2 weeks right there, not counting the cleanup time. Let's say they took a week to clean up the building extensively, and now you have another 2 weeks to remove UV lights, add HEPA filters, and run the system with the outside air blocked off. After that time period, they had to get samples of the mold spores from different parts of the building. Okay, after that, they had to replace those HEPA filters, unblock the outside air intakes, and run it again for 2 more weeks in the normal operation mode. Then sample it again and compare the 2 weeks to the 2 weeks before. Now, I'm thinking to myself, that sounds like a very extensive plan, a well thought out solution, but I'm wondering, why is that necessary? What about this HVAC configuration made this sort of thing possible? It doesn't say that. It has a lot of talk about problems and solutions, but if the HVAC caused mold, my first guess is it doesn't address humidity. That must have been the problem. So none of this stuff here in the solution addresses humidity. So I got to kind of wonder about this, because they're treating this like mold is a very dangerous thing. We've heard both in our lifetimes. A lot of guys out there have heard mold is great. Well, no one's heard mold is great. Mold is mildly horrible, and mold is the end of things. So in this example, mold is a very serious problem. It's causing 30 people to have workman's comp issues. It's costing the county, local government a lot of money, not counting what the solution is going to cost, which is probably extensive. There's another company coming in, I think September 5th, to look at the same problem. Really blows your mind there. Now, keep it in mind, we're going to transition over to a different mold story. We're going to compare, because mold is bad. Remember, mold is bad. If you hold up a sign, poster board, mold is bad. Okay. We're going to travel to Cincinnati. In Cincinnati, this is just a little A little side story before we get to the next part. This was funny because I looked this up, looking up stuff about mold. There was a rail car, monorail, whatever you want to call it. It's not the subway. It's not underground. It's above ground. Rail car, people were complaining about mold in the rail car. So they tested the mold inside one of these cars and the mold outside one of the cars. Here's what they came up with. This is Cincinnati. 360 spores per meter. Spores per meter, and I guess that's cubic meter. 360 spores per cubic meter versus 5,320 spores per cubic meter. So roughly 15 to 20 times more. And there was more spores outside of the rail car than inside the rail car. So the interior of the rail car was much safer health-wise than the outside. I thought that was pretty funny. So if you're in Cincinnati, stay in the rail car and don't come out. Or go to the hospital. Now we're going to go to one of my favorite places. Jefferson, Indiana. It's my favorite place because of Live PD. Jefferson, Indiana has Live PD. Or they did. I don't know if they do now. I don't think they do anymore. Parkview Middle School. They had a huge mold problem. And the reason for this mold problem, because they have two chillers evidently at this school. One of them was down. This is how they termed it. One of them was down and one of them was underperforming. So they had one chiller that was completely offline and they had one that was underperforming. They blamed it on some air handlers, but I think the chiller was probably what they were talking about because the air handlers are just working with the chillers. They had the chillers, the issue with the chillers, and then they had some carpet cleaning evidently, and the carpet cleaning was not done properly. I don't know if there was some dampness left in the carpet or what was the issue, but it caused mold to start growing. Now, the reason why I'm telling you guys this story is because it directly goes against the first story that we talked about. Mold is super bad. A Dr. Yazel, I guess is the name, Yazel, but in the same area, says mold doesn't create a dangerous environment, but it is an irritant. Mold doesn't create dangerous environment, but it is an irritant. In the first example, it was causing people to it's causing people to go on workman's compensation. In this example, it's just a mild irritant. Now, keeping in mind where the frame of the story is coming from. In the first story, we're talking about guys that are at the sheriff's office speaking up against it, against this issue that they're having. And in the last example, you're talking about a bureaucracy, talking about a school system, where if they admit mold is bad, then they have a bunch of issues. So it makes me wonder if the perspective is causing the most issues here. What do you guys think about that? Those are my news stories. Those are my news for today. That is the news. And I'm going to go on to something else now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the phone a little bit, and we're going to do a 3 questions. 3 questions for 2 callers. And you're going to get Jackson System swag for calling in. So if you want to call in, 910-970-0774. I will take 2 callers, not at the same time, one at a time. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. It's not a like true or false or identify this capacitor. It's just general questions about how you work. Nothing that's difficult to answer, nothing that's going to trip you up or anything like that. So we're going to give it away. Jackson System swag for 2 guys. It's a hat, thermostat screwdriver, and a pin. 2 sets of those. For anybody who wants to call in. Until then, I'm going to let you guys do that. 910-970-0774. Until then, I'm going to talk about the Refrigeration Technologies giveaway that was supposed to be last Sunday. And I think we're going to put it this Sunday night. I don't think I'm going to do it tomorrow night, but I'll announce it tomorrow when the actual time will be. So we'll go ahead and give away that stuff. That'll be streamed on YouTube as well as right here on Shop Talk Radio, HST Radio. So you can listen to it on HST Radio or YouTube. There'll be equal chances to win. We're going to pick our winners from the group that is there. So people who show up are going to be the people who win. So make sure you show up. So if you can't come via, YouTube, you can come in via HST Radio. Again, the number to call in, 910-970-0774. I'm going to give you guys about 2 more minutes, and I'm going to call it a day. Call in, win some swag. Let's have a good time. It'll be a fun questions to answer. It's easy stuff. It's just stuff about what you're working on. That's all. Don't be afraid. Call in. You can win. I know you're out there. I see you on the map. We got Idaho. We have Kansas. We have Missouri. We have Illinois. We have Pennsylvania. Let's see who we got up here. Connecticut. All right, Connecticut. North Carolina. It's not me, though. And Florida. So we got guys all across the country listening right now. Call in and talk to me. You can talk about the mold if you want to, but we're going to give it about 5 more minutes if we do call in, or 1 more minute if we don't. I'm going to go have some dinner. It looks like we have a caller. Let's see who we got here. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Well, hello, Alex. How's it going, man?
Yeah, pretty much going pretty good. Going home from work.
Are you ready to answer the 3 easy questions?
Whatever, I don't know.
Well, they're really easy. It's not like a question like a test or nothing. It's just questions like the first question is, what is your favorite gauges that you use right now?
Favorite gauge?
Favorite gauge.
My Yellow Jacket.
Which ones are they?
I have 41, the one for 410.
Oh, you're talking about the old school style.
Yeah, I have a Testo 550 that's German, but I use it like the startup from VRF and stuff like that.
Okay, so you had the Testo 550, but your workhorses are the Yellow Jacket Series 41s.
Yeah.
Okay, pretty cool. All right, man. All right, well, that was easy. Here you go. The next question is, I probably know the answer to this one already, but are you an owner, an installer, or a service technician?
Service and install.
So you do some installs too, don't you? With the
I do the VRF.
The VR, that's right. I call them my ideas and the VRS too. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was easy too. Now, this one right here is an oddball question. Okay, what is your favorite brand of nut drivers?
Nut drivers.
But you never thought about it.
The sturdiest ones I've ever had. The sturdiest ones I ever had were Klein.
Nice. Yeah, I like Klein.
I've had and the ones I have now are the ones you buy in AutoZone, but they're last brand.
You know, I like Klein too. I have Kleins in my bag right now. I like Klein and Malco. I think those are both pretty good.
I have the number 2, and my 316 flathead for Klein. And I have a little mix of everything in the bag, from Husky to Rigid to whatever.
Okay. Hey, that's cool, man. And guess what? I'm about to send out your Sporlin swag so I can get a nice big box and put all this stuff in there now.
Cool. No problem with that.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I'm going to let you go, and I'm trying to get one more person. But thank you again.
Okay.
You're always a great caller because you're always willing to call.
You forgot to put the little song.
Oh yeah. Here you go.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, chicken dinner. You're a big winner on HST Radio. All right. Hey, we got another caller, so I'm going to go ahead and take him, man. But I appreciate you calling in.
Okay, thanks.
All right, take it easy, man. Bye. Hello, caller.
Hey, how's it going?
Mr. Brandon, how's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad.
So you ready to answer 3 simple questions?
I suppose.
It's not too bad. These are really easy questions. The first one is, how long have you done HVAC?
Let's see. 2004. So what is it?
14 years, man.
14 years. Yep.
Time flies by. That's pretty good. All right. That was simple. Okay. The next one's going to be kind of an estimate. When would you like to retire?
Now? In reality, it's probably going to be like 65. But,
So how old are you now?
32.
32. So you have 33
years. 33?
33 more years. I'm sure that'll just fly by.
Yeah.
All right, here's your last question. Do you prefer manifolds or smart probes?
I only ever used manifold. I never used smart probes before.
Do you want to try them, or you just never bought any?
No, there's too much money.
Too much money?
Right now.
What are you using?
I got S-Mans, and my boss gave me some 557 Testos.
Oh, okay, cool. So which one of those two do you prefer?
Oh, I like the S-Mans way better. And Testos I'm not a big fan of, honestly.
Why don't you like the Testos in comparison?
Well, I like the display on the S-Man better, and I like the Testo is the freaking probes keep like shorting out the little wire. You got to push on where they plug into the side of the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep pushing on them all the time, or else I can't ever get them to read.
Oh, how old are the 557s that you have?
1 year.
Oh, so they're not that bad. I don't know if they make those in China or Germany. I can't remember where they make the 557s.
Oh, yeah. don't know. I had a freaking hose collapse on me the other day too on them.
What do you mean it collapsed? What happened?
Oh, it wasn't it wasn't vacuum rated, and freaking thing sucked right into on the pump.
No kidding. I've never heard of that. Wild.
Yeah, it flattened right out.
What kind of hose was it? Do you remember?
I think it was a yellow jacket hose.
Yellow
but
jacket.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think someone made a video trying to get a hose to collapse one time. I don't remember who that was, but I know someone made a video of that. That's wild. I've never seen that before. Did you happen to take a picture of that by chance?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's all
I'll tell you
right.
what, it made me take an extra hour and a half or something on my job.
No kidding.
Because I turned the pump on, and then reading microns, I walk away. And then I come back an hour and a half later after getting some other stuff done. Oh, yeah, it hasn't sucked anything down.
Hey, which hose was it that collapsed? I mean, was it the hose connecting the manifold to the pump, or which one was it?
Yeah, the 3/8 line, the 3/8 hose.
Oh,
The
wow.
manifold to the pump.
Well, damn, you think that would be vacuum rated?
It must not have been.
Is it one of the black ones or one of the yellow ones?
It was yellow.
Oh, well, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Makes you think, though. I think I have one of those with that yellow jacket set. I'm going to go check and see if it says vacuum rated or not. I'd have one.
Well, I should go look. My van's in the shop right now, so I couldn't even tell you I have a spare van right now, but I could walk out and actually see what it is, but I won't get the van back till Monday.
Oh, that's all right. I have one. I literally have one in here somewhere, so I can take a look at it, figure it out. But I'll report back on that one. So cool. I already have your address, so I'll send you out a prize here. I'm gonna do a big mass mailing on Saturday or Monday, so you'll have some swag arriving in about 4 or 5 days.
Oh, cool. I appreciate it.
That's no problem, man. I appreciate you calling in. I'm gonna wrap this sucker up, so I'll let you go.
All right. Thanks.
All right, thanks, man. I will talk to you again soon, I'm sure.
Yep.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
That was Mr. Brandon Benny. Very nice. I'm going to take a look at the text now, guys, because there were several texts that came throughout the show, and I have a chance to look at them. I'm actually going to turn the phone line off and turn that down. I'm sorry, Cannon. I just turned the phone line off because I'm going to read the text. I'm sorry. It'll be okay. Now I got to get you off the screen. Damn it, Cannon. There he is. Okay. Sorry. Here we go. The black yellow jacket hoses take a beating. That's what Alex from Puerto Rico says. Let's see here. What is special about R718? Is it straight from the tap, purified, distilled, or what? Stuff we need to know. And yes, Jeff Kuiper, I am still live. I am still live. I don't know what is special about, and we're talking about water. I don't know. I don't know if we can look it up real quick. Here, I'll come back to that real quick. Maybe I can Google something and we'll see that. Just like everybody else on their job, I'm just going to Google something to figure it out. Don't cry, Cannon. You just got in a little bit too late. Oh, Nick is saying that Monica's company, Monica, actually donated some units. So that's pretty cool. Very nice. All right, let me look up. We'll look R718. Let's look it up right now and see what the difference is. We could pour some refrigerant out of the tap with some sulfur in it here in the country, I guess. Comparing water to other refrigerants. You know what we'll do? We'll take a look at this and we'll talk about it on the next radio show. I'll do some research on it instead of trying to pull something out of my buttocks here real quick. Oh, poor Cannon had 2 girls stand him up on dates. Sorry, Cannon. Sorry, man. We'll report back on those yellow jacket hoses. Are they vacuum rated? The ones that come with the manifold. I'm going to write that down now. Yellow jacket, manifold, vacuum. See if I can understand what I'm writing tomorrow. Probably not. I'm going to send out all these prizes, guys, over the next couple of days. I saved up all week long. Have 6 prizes to send out. Don't forget, on Sunday or Saturday, I'll announce it tomorrow. So either stay on Facebook or YouTube. Maybe I'll announce it on both because I can make a post on YouTube as well. We'll talk about when we're going to do the live stream for the Refrigeration Technologies giveaway. You'll have to be there because we're going to select people based on who is there. I'll figure out how to do that. It'll also be streaming on the radio station. So if you're on the radio station, you'll be able to win as well because I'm sure we'll do some sort of call-in thing. So it's okay. If you're somewhere where you don't want to eat up a bunch of data or somewhere where you can't watch the screen, you just got the headphones in, go to the radio station, man. And, of course, we're now on Android and iOS. There's an app, HST Radio, on both. So if you're listening on Chrome or something like that, you don't have to do that unless you're on the desktop computer. Looks like I'm looking down at all the guys here. Looks like we're mobile Safari. Somebody's mobile Safari. Get the app, man. Get the app. It's cool. Radio iOS app. Looks like everybody else is using the app except for a couple Chrome mobiles. Chrome mobile guys, if you're on an Android tablet or phone, you can use the app. If you don't want to download the app, you just want to hit it every now and then when you want to use it. I understand that, but it might be a little bit easier. Jeff Kuiper says, did you ever give away those field piece probes? Yes, we did. We gave them away several months ago in conjunction with HVAC in South Carolina. They went to, I think, Adam Walker in Canada. I'm pretty sure. Jeff Kuiper says he's on the Android app. Sweet. Nick says, I would think R718 would be pure water and the power plant story is thickening. Oh, okay, good. Great. So I don't know if we're going to be live tomorrow on the radio. I might do it. I might not have a podcast recording tomorrow. I will let you guys, well, we're just going to taste a little bit of a secret coming up. And it's going to be good. I mean, it's going to be super good. Super duper good. And I'm going to answer a question came in on text in just a second. There's going to be something completely new. That's, well, I shouldn't say that. It's going to be part new and part old. And it's coming up. It's going to be big. And it's going to be here in about a month. I just want you guys to keep listening because I'm going to tell you a little bit more coming up. It's a big secret, but it's going to be a blockbuster. It's going to be great. Keep listening to Shop Talk. It's not even Shop Talk related, but it's coming. All right, let me answer these texts, guys. We got a lot of guys coming in here with a few more texts. I'll answer these before we get out of here. Alexander still wants those Pro R probes. I don't think that's going to happen because this is the last month we're working with Sporlan, so we're not going to probably get any more Pro R probes. Let's see. I would love to be able to pronounce his name right. I'm going to go with Simcha. Simcha. It would be awesome if you could bring up a conversation of the different smart probes, UI, and field piece probes and MeasureQuick app. I'm sure we'll continue to talk about MeasureQuick. I will say this. I haven't used MeasureQuick and the field piece probes. When I used the field piece probes, MeasureQuick was not paired with them. This was a few months ago, so I have not experienced that new pairing. I'm sure it's really good. In fact, Jim Bergman saved field pieces ass more than likely because that app was crashing for guys. It wouldn't keep the information on the screen. There's a whole lot of issues, and now they could very well be the forerunner in this category. And the person that probably hurts the most in this, or entity that hurts the most, is going to be North Park, because the iConnect looks a lot less desirable unless you have that extended range need, which a lot of people don't, especially in residential. So the field piece probes very well might be the forerunner now. I have to test out the UEI with their app. I looked over the app. The one difference I see between MeasureQuick and that one, it doesn't do capacity, but we can debate the airflow measurement as part of the reason why you would or would not use a capacity coming from an app. We'll talk about that later. There's a lot more text coming through, guys. A lot of questions. I wish I could put these up on my computer. That would be better. Let's see here. Justin Henning. Okay, I won't. Okay, and no. It says for me definitely not to mention it on the air. Let's see this. He's been using the new app with Testos. I don't know if that means the MeasureQuick app. The last I heard, they were static with their readings. They wouldn't change, but maybe they've changed that now. Let's see here. Why doesn't UI want to use MeasureQuick? I don't know. They didn't want to use MeasureQuick, but I don't know what the exact reasoning was. Some of these things I find out before the general public finds out, but this one I did not. I have no idea. I started working with UEI probably after they made this decision, so I don't know. The UEI app looks pretty good, and I haven't used MeasureQuick a whole lot because I didn't have anything to use MeasureQuick with, and I'm not one of these guys that plugs in all the numbers manually. I think that's insane because I know there's only a fraction of those numbers you really need at any one given time. It's kind of an overload to get every possible bit of information. You really need to take maybe the 5 or 6 things that you actually need per service call and use those. And if you need to go beyond that, I usually do some quick calculations, nothing too big. Let's see here. All right. Okay, the updated MeasureQuick is cool. That's what Jeff Kuiper says. Maybe I have to download it. I don't have anything to use that with, so I guess I could get some smart probes from Testo and try them out. I really would like to. Even though we're UEI sponsored, I still try out all this other stuff, guys, because I'm curious about it. Man, let's see if we have any other. We have a whole bunch of stuff going through. Is the secret you want to set me up on a blind date from Canon? No, I'm sorry, Canon. You're 21, man. You can handle it. You're suave, guys. Although I think I was hit on from the nail cleaner lady today. That was an odd experience, especially since I had my baby with me. Really awkward. Really awkward. All right, guys, I'm going to close this out. Remember, you're texting me a lot of great stuff. If you want to discuss it on the show, I'll be happy to. As far as smart probes, I have used Testo before. Testo is fine unless you walked away from them about 3 or 4 feet, then they disconnected. So in that respect, you might as well just have a manifold, minus the refrigerant loss with the hoses, really. I like mobile on-the-go stuff. That's why I had the Z manifold. I like the UEI probes at a first glance, but I haven't used them yet. The field piece probes were great. The app was the weak part, but the range was great on those. The range on the Pro R was great, and it was great for refrigeration because it doesn't have airflow probes. And they have no desire to get airflow probes, so they're not going to do that. But if you have refrigeration only, where you don't need airflow probes, the Pro R is probably the best one for you because it's built for that low temperature stuff. I can't remember how many of these things there are. They're everywhere. The Refco ones, what you want to do is you want to go to Amazon and buy a catapult and put them in the catapult and fire them suckers out to sea because they were the worst. The worst. Even with the Testo's range being horrible, the Refco probes, they were super horrible. The only redeeming factor on those is they have a display. But to me, if I'm using the display, because their Bluetooth sucks, I mean, I might as well just get digital gauge stub heads like the Yellow Jacket Series 41 digitals and put them on the little, let me see if I can get this right, 1/4 inch female flare to 1/8 NPT adapter that Yellow Jacket sells and make stub gauges. The downside of that is they may have to be angled because those gauge heads are 3 1/8 inch, I think, which makes them larger than the smaller 2 and whatever ones that I typically use. Because a lot of times if you're using stub gauges, you try to screw them in right there at the unit. Stupid gauge head will hit the unit and you won't be able to put them there. You have to do like a 6-inch extender hose with a ball valve on it. I used to carry those with me just in case. But it worked good if you had those. It wouldn't be an issue all the time either, just sometimes. Text from my wife, don't forget to put a screw through the wagon. That's for tomorrow. Jeff says, Testo range sucks. They said they are working on the range. If they come up with Series 2, and this is what I said before, if they come up with a Series 2 from Testo and it has increased range, I mean, them suckers will be golden, man. They'll be great because they're already good hardware, even though they're relatively cheap. Good hardware, but the range sucks. Just increase the range and we'll be good to go, guys. Okay, I'm going to shut this thing down. It's been almost 40 minutes, so we've been going long enough. I'm going to play the outro music, guys. I appreciate you listening. Don't forget, if you're not already, use the app, HST Radio. If you have the app and you're enjoying the show, rate the app. It helps me out. Give us 5 stars. You want to give us 4 stars, go give that to a different app or whatever. Just give me 5 stars. I want all the stars, or I want no review at all. Let's be honest with you. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Don't forget, there'll be an announcement before we do the Refrigeration Technologies giveaway. And someone did mention the UEI. The leftover UEI prize will be given away that day as well. So it'll be a big giveaway. Maybe a few surprises in there somewhere, just because we missed last week. And that's on me, so I apologize for that. But I'm going to make it up to you in a way that you're going to forget that I ever did anything wrong. So on that note, I'm getting out of here.